Mock draft season is in full swing. So that's what we're going to do. Something I think I wanted to add to the channel is I think we're going to start doing a mock draft every Friday. And so that's what we're going to do today. Every Friday, I want to try to do a different scenario in the mock draft. And the idea here is just address the different things that the Jets might do at 10 or 4 or whatever situations, whether that's trading back into the first, whether that's trading out of picks, trying to trade down as much as possible, whatever it is. And then just what happens if they just take all the picks? Today, I wanted to visit the idea of what would happen if the Jets traded out of 10. We heard a lot of rumors and reports that the Jets were interested in coming out of 10 to go later into the first round. And now with the Jets using 2 of their in-person visits on Treylon Burks, I think that's more likely than anything. Hint, hint, what might possibly happen in this draft. So let's go into this draft. Let's see what I've done in this draft and how I've addressed it. So at number 4, the Jets are on the clock. I have the Jets going and getting Ahmad Gardner, cornerback out of Cincinnati. I look at this pick and I look at it and I say, this almost has to be the pick here at this point. We're going to have to be facing Stephon Diggs, Tyreek Hill, Devontae Parker, Jalen Waddle, really, really good wide receivers 2 times a year. That's not including, I can't remember the guy's name in Buffalo, but the guy he went off in that Kansas City Chiefs game and all of that stuff. They also added Jamison Crowder. I think the wide receivers in the AFC East have gotten so good that I don't see how we don't address the cornerback room. It's not that I don't like Bryce Hall, but Bryce Hall being a rotational corner with Ahmad Gardner in his first year, to me, is much, much more interesting. And the ceiling of Ahmad Gardner is just much higher, in my opinion, than Bryce Hall. And so if you have a combination at wide receiver of DJ Reed, Ahmad Gardner, Bryce Hall, and Michael Carter II, sign me up every day of the week. I would love that, and I think that would shore up our secondary, giving our edge rushers more time to get to the passer, because I think we'll be able to cover guys really, really well and really, really hard for a little bit longer, giving our edge rushers more time to get home. At 10, the Jets get a call from the New Orleans Saints. The New Orleans Saints want to come up from 18 to 10 to come get their guy, which happened to be a receiver in this situation, and the Jets took the call. The way that the trade goes is we are sending the 10th overall pick and our 5th round pick 163 to the New Orleans Saints, and we are receiving New Orleans' first round pick, number 18, their second round pick, number 49, and their third round pick, number 98. So we send a 1 and a 5 this year, and we get a 1, a 2, and a 3 moving forward. So the Jets are back on the clock at pick 18, and you guessed it, at this point, what we're taking is wide receiver Treylon Burks out of Arkansas. I don't think it's a coincidence that we're visiting Burks and having him visit this much. I think the Jets really, really, really like Treylon Burks, and I would not be surprised to see this scenario play out. Now, I have a feeling that the Jets just take Burks at 10 just to not risk him in a trade back, but I think a lot of people still have Drake London and Garrett Wilson. Some people have Chris Olave and Jameson Williams above their board, over Treylon Burks. I personally don't have those last 2 guys over him. I have Burks as my number 3 wide receiver. If you watch my previous wide receiver rankings, you would see that. But I think the Jets love Treylon Burks. I think this is a pick that makes a lot of sense. And I think this is what you would see in this scenario. They sprint up to the board. They've received an extra second and an extra third, and they still got their guy, giving us more ammunition to, if we wanted to trade back into the first round, we're not going to be doing that this draft. They can, but also saying, hey, let's do it. I did think about trading back into the first because at 18, Jermaine Johnson was still not taken, but he was taken 2 picks later to the New England Patriots, which sucked because I was looking at trading back into 21, using the second round and third round picks that we got to go get Jermaine Johnson and address the edge. But since that wasn't an option, I let the board play out to me, and at pick 35, the New York Jets select Boye Mafe, edge out of Minnesota. Boye Mafe is an interesting prospect here. He is I consider him more of an outside linebacker type of edge prospect. He looks and plays and feels more like an outside linebacker. Now, that doesn't mean that he can't put his hand into the dirt and that he can't come flying off of the edge, because I absolutely think he can. And this is another one of those, this is a Senior Bowl matchup, kind of. We coached him up at the Senior Bowl. He was there at the Senior Bowl. We got to see him firsthand. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Jets address edge in the second, because I think wide receiver is now the pick at 10, or if we trade out of 10, I think that's the wide receiver pick. And I really like Ahmad Gardner. So at 35, Boye Mafe, edge, Minnesota. Round 2, pick 38, I have the Jets going Jaquan Brisker out of Penn State. Safety out of Penn State. I really, really like this pick. I have Jaquan Brisker as my number 2 safety in this class. I think he is the exact opposite of what Whitehead is. Whitehead reminds me of a Jamal Adams type of wide receiver. He's going to come down into the box. He's a downhill guy, and I always thought that we needed to pair him up with a ball hawk type of safety, and that's what Jaquan Brisker is. If Kyle Hamilton wasn't in this draft, Jaquan Brisker to me is the number 1 safety in this draft. I would love having a pairing in the backfield of Jaquan Brisker and Jordan Whitehead, and then a cornerback room of DJ Reed and Ahmad Gardner. This defense looks stacked, especially when you take our front 4 being Carl Lawson, Boye Mafe, and Jacob Martin rotating on the other end. Jonathan Franklin Myers and Quinnen Williams coming up the middle. And like we have other rotational pieces and other positions that I address in this draft. Now, the one piece in the defense that I'm not a fan of is the linebacker room. But if you remember, in that trade with New Orleans, we got an additional second round pick number 49. And this is where we come in and we address that linebacker room. At pick number 49, the New York Jets select linebacker Chad Muma out of Wyoming. I love this pick. I think this is a great pick, and at 49, I think it's excellent value. I think Chad Muma comes in day 1, starting at a will linebacker or even middle linebacker if you want to move CJ out to the will, which we saw him play a lot last year. He was playing not as the middle linebacker. I think Muma has a lot of really good coverage skills, but also I think here's where he comes in, is that he's really good in the run game. He can process information quickly, and here's the kicker. This is a Senior Bowl guy. We got to see him firsthand in the Senior Bowl, coached up by our staff in our system, and he looked good. Chad Muma made himself money by going to the Senior Bowl and being on the Jets roster, because before the Senior Bowl, I think he was a consensus third-round pick, and now I would not be surprised if he's not even available at 49. Chad Muma to the Jets, 49. Moving on. Next is round 3, pick 69. I think we've addressed all of our major areas of need in this draft. I don't think that I look at any position and go, this is a major area of need. So now what I'm pivoting in this draft is, let's get complementary pieces to our team, pieces that'll come in, help, and be rotational guys in the lineup. I have the Jets at pick 69 taking running back Damian Pierce out of Florida. Now, I love Michael Carter, and Michael Carter is definitely our running back 1, but Damian Pierce comes in and addresses the issue of depth in the running back room. I know we have Tevin Coleman, but I would be hard-pressed to believe that Ty Johnson and LaMichael Pirine are on this roster starting, like on this roster week 1. I think Damian Pierce in the 3rd round brings a lot of versatility. I think he brings in a similar skill set to the wide receivers that we have in that room and what we want. And I think that this is an excellent value pick here. And the thing that we have to remember is we also have another 3rd round pick thanks to the New Orleans trade. So we go out and we trade with New Orleans and we get this extra pick. And I consider the Damian Pierce pick here a luxury pick, not a pick that might actually happen, but because we have an extra 3rd round pick, and I believe that the guy that I actually wanted at this pick was going to be there at 98, I took Damian Pierce, and lo and behold, the guy that I wanted was there at 98, and that's tackle Zach Tom out of Wake Forest. I think the Jets need to address the tackle room. I think we need a backup swing tackle, and someone who has the upside and the potential to come in and maybe replace George Fant. I don't know if George Fant is going to be on the Jets next year. This is his final year of his deal. We would have to re-sign him, and as much as I would love to bring George Fant back and bring him back into this locker room, I'm not going to risk that. Zach Tom, for me, is a player that needs help and needs development, but has incredible, incredible upside. And that's why I took him here. And the other thing is he's also insurance in case one of the tackles get hurt. Unfortunately, Mekhi Becton got hurt last year, and now I'm still fully on board the Mekhi Becton train. I think he's our left tackle of the future. But if someone were to get hurt, right now I don't really believe in our depth at the tackle position. Zach Tom comes in. I think he can be a really, really good day 3 or day 2 pick to come in and address the tackle room. And I think he can be a swing tackle in the New York Jets for years to come. Round 4, pick 111. We go and we address the interior of the defensive line. And we go defensive interior, Neil Farrell Jr. out of LSU. I really like this pick. I think Farrell was a little bit of a under the radar kind of interior guy. He's a good run-stopping defensive interior guy. And in the 4th round, I think you're getting incredible value because we're not asking him to come in and start. I think our starters on the interior are going to be Jonathan Franklin Myers and Quinton Williams. I think that we have Shepard. We have to remember that we also have the kid that we took last year later in the draft. I think what this is just a depth pickup. This is good value. It's coming out of the SEC, so we know that he's facing good offensive lines, and we can put him in on the team, have depth at the defensive interior, and we can develop him and turn him into something moving forward. At round 4, pick 117, I have the Jets taking Marquis Hayes, guard out of Oklahoma. This is just another one of those. This is a depth signing. If we can have Marquis Hayes come in and be the depth, maybe try him out at center and see what's happening there. Maybe we might have a center prospect in the future. This is just a straight up a depth pickup. I think we need to have depth on the offensive line. We haven't brought LDT back, so I don't necessarily believe super much in the secondary guys that we have on the Jets in the offensive line. Injuries happen every year. Marquis Hayes is just another draft pickup that we can have. It's going to provide depth at the position, and who knows if in a year or two he turns out to be a legitimate guard prospect. We can move on from Laken Tomlinson, and our guards for the future can be Elijah Vera Tucker and Marquis Hayes moving forward. And if you look at the statistically, rounds 3 and 4 tackles and guards have a much higher success rate in the NFL because they're not asked to come in and immediately start and get traumatized by the fact that they're going up against full speed grown men who have been doing this in their entire careers. They get the opportunity to develop. I like this pick. Guard Marquis Hayes, 117. And with the last pick in the draft in round 5, pick 146, because the Jets, remember, we traded our 163rd pick to the New Orleans Saints. I have the Jets going tight end out of Virginia, Jelani Woods. I think this is a great pickup for the Jets. I know that we signed 2 tight ends, but we ran so many 2 tight end sets, and again, it's just about injury. How many tight ends got hurt for the Jets last year? If we had a tight end room that consisted of Uzama, Conklin, Jelani Woods, and Kenny Yeboah, I'm not that mad at that. I feel comfortable by pushing Yeboah down the lineup so that he can develop more. I think Woods is an excellent prospect for the tight end room, and it just gives us, like I said, depth at a position of need. I think we're going to be running 12 personnel so much. I think we're going to be running 22 personnel a lot as well. I would not be surprised to see 2 running backs and 2 tight ends on the field a whole bunch so that we can isolate a Treylon Burks or an Elijah Moore or a Corey Davis outside on his own. Again, I think with this draft, and I'm going to post up the draft right here so that you can see it. I used the PFF mock draft here to just kind of see the players and everything like that. Let me know what you guys think of this draft. Are there any picks that you really like that I made or any picks that you really hate that I made? And let me know what you want me to do next Friday for our next mock draft. If you want me to just say, screw it, we're going to take all of our picks. If there's a specific scenario or a specific team that you want me to trade with, let me know, and I'll do that next time. And lastly, go Jets.